the classic Zimbabwean dish, I would assume most people would agree, is sadza and chicken relish and vegetables. So sadza is basically the staple diet because they grow lots of corn there. They call it maize. Not that big of a stretch. But then they have grinding mills where you take your dried maize, grind it into flour, and so then you have lots of what's called millie meal. And you take that, you boil it, you stir it up, and it becomes basically a big paste. And some people like it really hard, some people like it really soft. But regardless, when you eat it, you are putting your fingers into burning hot lava, and so you got to be careful when you're first starting. Every green missionary burns his fingers, I think, at least a little bit because they do not know. So basically, you take that, and it's basically I'm saying basically a lot. They're taking something the consistency of Play-Doh, and you take it and you can make it into either a ball or into a little scoop, and then you scoop up some gravy which has pieces of meat or vegetables, and you take that and you eat that, and it's absolutely delicious. The first time you have it, it's the strangest experience, but eventually you grow to love it. And then they have some sort of meat, and almost always chicken, and they know how to fry chicken there. It's not Kentucky chicken, it's not Southern fried chicken, but it is a really tasty way that they do it. And then there's a thing called kovu, which is a vegetable that grows in a stalk out of the ground. You'll see it being grown in every single person's garden. And as the leaves come off, they just pluck the leaves, and then it continues to grow up and up. So it starts off, on the ground, and eventually it'll be this tall, and it'll just have a bare stalk with like 5 or 6 leaves at the top that they'll pick. And they chop it and fry that. So you use the sadza to basically dip it and pick up vegetables or relish and the meat and eat that. And when I say relish, I don't mean what they put on hot dogs here. I mean relish is basically any meat or gravy that they have with the food. So that's your basic meal. Sometimes people will like kapenta, and kapenta is these little tiny dried fish that I never really enjoyed. I ate it, and I always was very grateful when someone offered it to me. And I don't know, but I guess you compare that to the chicken, and I definitely had my preference. I think the hardest part about kapenta was knowing that they had eyes that are looking at me, but it was great. And let's see, what else was a big favorite. I was offered rabbit many times, and guinea pig once or twice. The most extreme ones, I'm sure that all the missionaries we love talking about, and the members, they would love feeding it to us because they're saying, "Oh no, you have to have this. You're eating in Zimbabwe. You have to have a traditional Zimbabwean meal." So one was maklimbi, or madora, which is the caterpillars. And so these caterpillars grow by the thousands on some of these trees, and they call them mupani worms as well. And they'll fry those up, and you'll eat those just like you would with the chicken. And I remember the first time I had those, I pick one up out of the bowl, and I'm looking at it, and I'm just going, "You are ugly." And I'm going to eat you, but and so you pop it in, and once you try and forget what it is that's in your mouth, it's delicious. It's just the face is what got me. And there's something called ishwa, which is these flying termites that during a certain time of the year, kids will stand around these little termite holes, and they'll cover them because termites will come out at night. And so if you cover it, they think it's nighttime because the daylight's no longer shining down. And so then they'll start crawling out by the hundreds, and the flying ones are the ones you want to eat. The ones that are on the ground have angry little pincers that they hurt. And I didn't know that. And I was trying to pick them up, and the kids were like, "No, no, 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 Marugo, no." And I got pricked pretty good. Those things do not let go. And so they'll grab the termites out of the air. Sometimes they'll pull off the wings, and they'll stick them in a bag, and they'll fry those up and eat those. Or you can just eat it right out of the air if you want, which I did because the kids are like, "Do it." So I was like, okay. So that was good. Zimbabweans like to eat parts of the chicken that we're not used to, like chicken feet and chicken neck. And while it does take some getting used to, it is very edible and it's very tasty. Once you've gotten over your preconceived notions of saying feet, but they're pretty good. So yeah, the food is pretty tasty. Rice is another big one. Rice and beans, basically anything that comes big bulk bags and can be. They come up with really creative ways to eat it as well. You'll get, like, as missionaries, I guess, when you go home, unless if you don't trust yourself cooking sadza, which is understandable, because if you cook it wrong, you're just gonna make yourself sick, just because if you don't boil it the right way and if you don't get all the lumps out, it's just not good. So you'll go home, and most missionaries cook rice or packets of macaroni or spaghetti, and there's lots of soup packets that you can put the flavoring on there, and fry some meat, and I mean that's your basic Zimbabwean meal. The biscuits there, the cookies they call biscuits, are you can buy really nice ones, and then you can buy the really bulk bags that are basically like just flavor on flour. And I actually bought those all the time because it was something I would just sit there and study with. But it's the food that, man, now I'm really hungry. I miss that food really badly. So one of the drinks there is called mazoe, and it's fantastic because it's basically just syrup that you're supposed to dilute, which I did not know. And so my companion's like, hey, pour yourself a glass of mazoe and pour me some as well. I went, sure. And I went to the kitchen, and I'm brand new, pour us both a glass, and go back in, and he grabs it and he looks at it and he knows what I just did, and he just looks at me and he watches me as I take it, and I take a sip, and 5 times the amount of concentration that I should be getting of sugar, and my brain just exploded, and I spit it out. I'm like, whoo! I swear I could smell colors at that point. And and he laughs and he's like, you're supposed to dilute it. Yeah, now you tell me. But occasionally you'll start craving that stuff once again. So it's good. I miss the Zimbabwean food a lot. Like, getting food is pretty cool because lots of people are entrepreneurs, and so they'll have little stands outside their houses or on the street somewhere. So if you ever need fresh tomatoes or fresh vegetables, they're right there. Like, a lot of the time we'll just poke our head out the window to a little kid that knows us, and we're like, hey, and we'll give them $1, like, go get us some tomatoes, and they'll run and they'll grab you some tomatoes and they'll bring them back, because kids are used to their moms having them do that all the time. So it's really fun. You feel really important. Like, hey kid, little one, and they're like, yes, and they run and they get you something, and then if you're nice, you'll give them a sweet or something like that.